Why so many millennials experience imposter syndrome. Welcome to the School of Self-Worth Live. I'm Sam Osborne, the Self-Worth Guy. Today is episode 144, and today I'm reviewing another article about imposter syndrome. This one is actually available on the Wall Street Journal website, and because I'm not a subscriber, I found that it's also available in its entirety on the Forbes website. So we're going to be having a look at that today, and I'm going to just read a little bit of it and talk about some of the ideas in this article. So it's by Christine Michael Carter, Forbes Women, one of Forbes Women. Love these articles. So let's just read a little bit from here. So it says, last month I attended a marketing meeting for global executives in New York City and opted to catch an Amtrak train. Massive respect to Amtrak. She opted to captain an Amtrak train to the meeting instead of driving her personal car to Baltimore. She purchased a first-class ticket for the trip so she could have the privacy to finish a few presentations while relaxing in casual clothing. After she boarded the train, she realized she might have been in the wrong train car because she saw no tables or breakfast menus. She asked a gentleman dressed in a suit and tie nearby, "Do you know if this is first class?" The gentleman replied, "This is business class. You must be confused. This part of the train is so nice it looks like the first class car. There isn't a first class on this train." She took a look at her ticket, then again at him, puzzled, thanked him for his patronizing help, and found the conductor who pointed her in the right direction to the first class car. She wondered if her casual clothing had made the gentleman believe that she didn't belong in first class. And she wondered if it was her casual tone or if she wondered if it was the color of her skin. Whatever the reason, his condescending response and dismissal of her question did nothing to correct her self-perception. She already thought that she didn't belong on the train with those experienced professionals, that she was an imposter, not accomplished enough to attend this meeting in New York. Sadly, this moment of uncertainty was not unique to her. All too many millennials. Now I'm just going to stop there quickly and define millennials. Well, I'll give you a couple. My understanding or definition of millennial is anyone who is born between 1980 and 2000. However, what I've noticed in the cultural space of today, millennial means anyone who was born around the year 2000, which could really be anyone born from 1990 to 2010. And there's a lot of different theories about what's a millennial, but a Generation X is anyone born prior to 1980 to all the way to 1960, and a baby boomer is 1960 to 1940 because they have this idea of a 20-year gap. But the millennial generation is, people born around the year 2000, young people, as they might say. So she says here, this moment of uncertainty is not unique to her or to many millennials. That is imposter syndrome. 70% of young people experience imposter syndrome. I'm going to stop there and say that it's actually 70% of all people, all ages, sex, color, etc., across the board. People who experience imposter syndrome are often high achievers, unable to internalize and accept their success, like to really feel it, like, yeah, I was successful and I deserve it. Often, these people attribute their accomplishments to luck rather than to ability and fear that others will eventually unmask them as frauds. That's imposter syndrome. Millennials, says Carter, are most likely to experience imposter syndrome, not only because of technological advancements within their lifetime, societal pressures, and social media comparisons, but also because of their parents. Well, parents can definitely affect, or your upbringing can definitely affect or cause imposter syndrome, regardless of what age you are, says the research. But I can imagine that, yes, millennials definitely feel it too. Millennials, Carter says, are members of the trophy generation. I like that term. Raised by parents who send mixed messages, alternating between overpraise and criticism. According to the American Psychological Association, this increases the risk of fraudulent feelings. Also, when the feelings which most accompany imposter syndrome are unearthed, stress, anxiety, and depression. It becomes obvious why the generation, also called Generation Stress, is most likely to experience imposter syndrome. I've actually never heard of that term, Generation Stress, but maybe young people are more stressed out than the previous generation. What do you guys think? I tend to think, because of my experience of being a school teacher for a while now, is that young people stress out pretty quickly, in my opinion, most of the time, not over a whole lot. And I like to call it the oh my gosh culture, or the oh my God generation, where anything that's new, surprising, or a little bit challenging for a person that is, let's say, under the age of 21, often will say, oh my gosh, that's too hard, or it will freak them out. That's just my experience. Not all of them, but it definitely stands out if you've been in my shoes. Let's continue on here. Let me shut the door so the neighbors' dogs don't interrupt the broadcast. Though millennials are the largest generation in America's workforce, many feel they still have something to prove, that they must validate their talent, credentials, and accomplishments. Now, I know this article is about millennials, but I'm going to say that that it doesn't just go for millennials. I have coached men and women who are 10, 20 years older than me, who still feel like they need to prove something to their father or the mother, even if the father or mother is dead or still alive. Okay. Research from Ernst & Young, says Carter in her article, affirms these feelings. Though the number of millennials taking on leadership roles has surged in a 2013 survey, one leading challenge cited across all generations was a lack of comfort with younger employees managing older workers. As a side note there, I'm wondering if the number of millennials taking on leadership roles has increased because a whole bunch of baby boomers are now retiring. And so there's a vacuum for younger people to go and step up into leadership roles. On another note, it's really positive to see young people stepping into leadership roles. So in the same survey, just 39% of respondents perceive millennials as hard workers. And I've heard this from people mostly my age and above. So I'm 42 next weekend, by the way, if you want to send me a little birthday treat. Most people my age and older have commented saying that people who are 25 and under don't really know what hard work is. Now, I think that's a big generalization. Most of the time, people will bitch and moan about the negative quality of a generation below them, and that's been going on for a long time. So I'm going to say something positive about young people here. As much as, yes, it is very clear in some cases that young people, that is, I'm going to say people under the age of 25, don't appear to be as entrepreneurial or take the initiative. That's my experience. It's like, come on, do something with your life. Like, that's just I'm going to say that. But on the other hand, I am going to say that there are a good amount of young people who work their butt off, whatever area it is in their life, and you can see them all around. And I've had conversations with them, and they are going through some serious situations where it's like, wow, that person is a hard worker. So I'm going to say it's, a mixed bag when it comes to hardworking and young people. And I think that goes for all ages. There's going to be lazy people and motivated hard workers in all generations. I really don't like this idea of just saying a generalization about, one general generation, saying they're all lazy. It's like, come on, that's just a massive generalization. You need to be quite specific in a lot of cases. Let's go on. Carter says, unfortunately, imposter syndrome is not limited to the office. For millennial professionals who are also parents, the opinion of others matters greatly. According to Time magazine, millennials report feeling inadequate, overwhelmed, and judged as parents more than baby boomers or Generation X. These adjectives are also associated with imposter syndrome. I wonder, is that really the truth, that millennials really feel inadequate more so than any other generation, or they feel more overwhelmed? I know it's according to Time magazine, but I'm not just going to believe that because it's written in a magazine, in an article. It's like, what's my experience? Well, I said before, this the oh my gosh generation. I wonder if they really feel inadequate or overwhelmed in comparison to other generations. That'd be a good question for people to let me know. What is your opinion? She goes on to say, this is Carter, about 7 in 10 parents want their own parents to think they are doing a good job raising their children, along with their friends and people in their community. 8% of millennial mums, even said it's important to be the perfect mum, according to the report by Baby Center. Parents of younger children also feel more personally responsible for their children's achievements or lack thereof. I'm going to stop there and say that a lot of parents, a lot of people, this is my experience, and you can judge and criticize and hate me if you want, but my experience is that a lot of parents, no matter the generation they come from, have children to correct the wrongdoings of the parent, of how they were treated by their parents, and that's just part of it. I'm not a parent, so I'm never going to be one, but I do have a lot of experience with young people, teaching them and their parents, talking to them and stuff. So you can take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. You can throw rotten tomatoes at me. I don't really mind. I'm just here to sort of educate and throw some ideas out there. But yeah, parents can feel a lot of pressure to be a good enough parent. But I think to be the perfect parent or the perfect mum, that's stressing you out. Ease off on it, there's got to be more to life than trying to be perfect at something that's stressing you out. Try to have a meaningful conversation with the people that are in your life, the children, your friends. Don't this comparing thing and trying to be perfect. It's going to cause a lot of heartache. There will always be colleagues, friends, and even strangers whose unwarranted comments will trigger moments of inadequacy, but luckily there are steps millennials can take to reduce moments in which they experience imposter syndrome. They can understand that the imposter syndrome is a form of fear and worry, so Carter says acknowledge it. Periodically reflect on successes and consider failures as learning opportunities. Yes, definitely. There's no failure, only feedback. I think that's a neuro-linguistic programming idea, is that you're not really failing as long as you get up again, right? Stop comparing to colleagues and friends. And yes, stop doing that so much. Although I'm going to say sometimes it's a good idea to compare yourself to people who are ahead of you, but do it in a positive way. Look at their qualities and go, what did they do to get where they are? And can I emulate that? That's a good way of comparing yourself to people who are ahead of you. Don't compare yourself and say, oh my gosh, look where they are. I'm nowhere near where they are right now. It's like, come on, give yourself a break. What you should do in that case is compare yourself to who you were yesterday, a year ago, and then you're going to say, wow, I've really grown. I've seen some growth, and that's going to lift you. That's going to inspire you to go on more. So that's a great article, Why So Many Millennials Experience Imposter Syndrome. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you've enjoyed it a lot, I've got a free gift for you. It's called Crush Imposter Syndrome Forever, the starter kit for bulletproof confidence. And you can get it at samosborne.com/starter kit. I hope everybody's having a great week. I'll see you later. Bye.